Arise, Queens. This is the All Queens Army, where women are provided with the tools you need to overcome your fears, face your flaws, and experience breakthroughs as you develop self-esteem so strong you emanate royalty. Now, for your host and commander of the All Queens Army, Breezy Time.
Welcome to the All Queens Army podcast. This is your girl, your host, Breezy Time. I am here today with another dope episode for the Queens. Yes, honey, it's another wonderful and beautiful Monday in the Queendom, and I am super excited that my beautiful queens are here to celebrate another dope-ass Motivation Monday with me, okay? I'm so excited and so grateful for you, queens. I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for listening to the All Queens Army podcast, listening to my little old voice once a week, and just being a part of the Queendom, okay? It's super exciting. I think we're doing some really good things. I get really good responses from so many of you queens. I really do. It's so exciting just to hear the feedback and all of the results that you queens are getting from the podcast and from the blog and all of that good stuff, okay? So thank you so much, queens. I just want to say thank you. I know you guys say thank me all the time, but I want to say thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting the All Queens Army podcast. I love you queens so much. I literally can't put it into words, okay? So thank you. Just wanted to say that before we get started because we have a really good episode today. We're going to be talking about how to feel happiness when you're not where you want to be in life. That's what today's topic is going to be about. Before we jump in, make sure you queens go check out the e-courses on the website. The website is allqueensarmy.com. There are quite a few e-courses, 5 to be exact, that are on the website that I created for you queens so that you can delve into our topics deeper. For some of you queens who need step-by-step action on how to resolve some of this little stuff that we're talking about on the podcast episodes, that's what the e-courses are for. So go check them out. Take those e-courses as needed. And then, of course, we have the motivational blog that I write for you queens every Thursday. It drops at 6 a.m. Perfect time for you to drink your coffee or drink your tea and get your morning motivation. And then last but not least, if you have not subscribed to the All Queens Army podcast, go to allqueensarmy.com, click the subscribe link. You can choose whichever platform you prefer. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, and iTunes, and you can subscribe that way. You get a notification every single time a new episode drops, okay? So with that being said, let's jump into today's topic. We're talking about how to feel happiness when you're not where you want to be. Now, why does anyone want to feel happy when they're not where they want to be? It's because you're always going to have a goal. One thing that I noticed about us as queens, honey, is that when we accomplish one goal, when we achieve one thing, honey, we are on to the next, okay? And that's actually how most people are. We're always striving for the next thing. We're always looking for the next glow up. We're always looking for that next advancement, that next level. And there's nothing wrong with that. That shows that we're ambitious. That shows that we have goals. That shows that we're constantly trying to grow and sharpen our knives so that we can be better and better every day. So that is absolutely a plus. It's a great thing. It's a positive thing. What I want to talk about is those feelings and emotions that we have when we don't feel happy, when we feel frustrated about where we are, where we feel stagnant, when we just kind of look out at the future and say, oh my gosh, I'll be so happy when this happens, or oh my goodness, I'll be so excited when that happens. So that's what I want to talk about is those feelings and those emotions, because we're always going to find ourselves in a position where we're not quite where we want to be. Even if we are where we said we wanted to be 5 years ago, if we're there now, I guarantee you that there's a level that you aspire to achieve within another few months or few years. I guarantee it because that's just how it is. It's important, queens, that we find happiness where we are. We don't want to focus too much on where we're going and when we're going to get there, so much so that we're not learning how to enjoy the moment, that we're frustrated or we're depressed or we're anxious or we're worried about where we are and how we're not getting there, because that creates feelings of being overwhelmed. It creates stress. It creates depression. You don't want to do that. We have to learn how to be happy where we are, because remember, when you think about manifesting what it is that you want, when you think about manifesting your goals in the life that you want, you have to find happiness and contentment where you are. If you're not happy and content where you are, I mean, who the hell wants to walk around being unhappy and unfulfilled every single day, constantly thinking about what they don't have, constantly being reminded about why they're not where they want to be? That's a miserable feeling, and no one wants to live their lives miserable, right? Like, you don't want to be miserable every single day. Even if you're working towards where you want to be, you at least want to be happy right now. Yeah, of course, you'll be be happier. You'll be on fucking cloud 9 when you get to where you want to be. But today, you want to be able to be happy and content. So that's why we're talking about this. We want to make sure that you're not walking around miserable about your life, your current situation, or wherever you are today, okay? So that's what we want to do. So I have a couple questions for you, queens. Actually, I have a lot of questions for you, queens. If you answer yes to any of these questions, that means that this episode is for you, okay? Here's the first question. Are you struggling with feeling happy and content in your life because you aren't where you want to be? Second question. Are you worrying about things? Is there something that's just constantly on your mind that you are always worried about? Number 3. Are you accustomed to being in control and you're feeling out of control and it's causing you to feel anxious, unhappy, frustrated, a little miserable? Next question. Are you holding a grudge or anger towards someone about something? Are you still pissed off? Are you still hurt? Do you still have that bitterness? Are you bitter? Do you still have that yucky feeling about a situation or a person that happened? Next. Are you accustomed to getting what you want, but not getting it right now? Woo! That goes for all the spoiled queens, okay? And I am a spoiled queen. I'm telling you, I am spoiled. When I don't get what I want, I get a little tood. Is that you? Are you queens doing that as well? Because I definitely do it. I still do it even to this day. It's terrible, but I do. Okay, next. Are you comparing your life to someone else's? We talked about that a little bit last week. We're going to talk about it again this week in a little bit more detail. Next question. Do you feel like you'll be happy when? What's behind the when? You tell me. Are you going to be happy when you get married? Are you going to be happy when you have a baby? Are you going to be happy when you get that job? Are you going to be happy when you save a certain amount of money? Are you going to be happy when? If you have that thought, then I'm talking to you. Okay, I'm talking to you. Okay, are you a half glass empty person? You know what that means? It means that the situations, the circumstances that happen in your life is your immediate thought when you see something, when you experience something, when you go through something, is your immediate thought to look at the negative side of the situation? Is that your immediate way of thinking? If so, I'm talking to you. Now, a lot of queens will probably deny that that's them, but I can easily point out very quickly. I can have a 2-minute conversation with someone, and as soon as they open their mouth, I can tell you if you're that type of person, okay? Again, no shade. It's not bad. I do it sometimes too, queens. Don't get upset, okay? Next question. Are you lonely? Do you long for partnership? Do you long for someone to experience your life with? Do you long for your kids to come back home? Are you lonely? Next. Are you hanging with unhappy people? Are the people around you just bitching all the time, complaining all the time? Are they miserable? Are they just yucky, downright always have something negative to say? If so, I'm talking to you in this episode, okay? All right, next question. Are you struggling to find your purpose? Ding, 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 ding. This was me for years, okay? And even today, I still sometimes struggle with what the hell am I doing here, okay? What is my purpose? What do I get the most satisfaction from doing? What would I do all day, every day with my time if I didn't need to make money? That's your purpose, okay? If you have that question, if you're struggling with finding your purpose or even feeling like you're fulfilling your purpose, I'm talking to you in this episode, all right? Next question. Are you stuck in your past? Do you continue to relive your past? Are you constantly talking about your exes? Are you constantly talking about shit that happened 20 years ago? Are you constantly talking about the trauma that you experienced a long, long time ago? Are you constantly rehashing all of that hurtful shit, all of that yucky shit that happened to you that you experienced? Are you constantly doing that? I'm talking to you. Let me flip that coin. Same side, different coin. Are you stuck in your past? Are you focusing on a relationship that was and always talking about how wonderful it was, how beautiful it was, how great of a man he was, how wonderful of a woman he was? Are you stuck in the past? Are you reliving shit constantly that isn't happening today? Whether it's good or bad, I don't want to make it seem like that particular question is just focused on the negative. It's not. I know a girl that I used to work with like 10 years ago who would literally bring out her wedding photo book every time she had an event. And she had been divorced for like 5 years. The man had moved on. He had a new wife and children with his new wife. And she was just like stuck on that marriage. Like she just kept reliving it over and over and over again. Not laughing, no shade. I'm just bringing light to this situation. If that's you, if you find yourself doing that, queen, I'm talking to you in this episode, okay? All right, next question. Are you focused on the future and not enjoying today? I just gave you a few examples of that. Next question. Are you unhealthy or unhappy with your weight? Ooh, that's a big one. Let me raise my goddamn hand. I am unhealthy and unhappy with my weight, okay? That might be every woman that's listening to the podcast right now. It's definitely me. I'm raising my hand, okay? So if that's you, I'm talking to you. So clearly I'm talking to myself on this episode as well, okay? All right, next question. Are you a perfectionist? I'm raising my hand for that one too. I do think that to a certain extent, I am a recovering perfectionist, but I definitely still have some perfectionism shit going on in some things that I do. So if you're a perfectionist, I'm talking to you in this episode, okay? All right, next question. Are you unhappy with your financial position? Do you have an issue with the amount of money you make? Are you looking forward to the day when you make a certain amount of money? Are you looking for the day when you get the job that you've always hoped for so that you can make the money that you want to make from that job? Are you looking for the day where your business starts booming? Are you unhappy with your financial position right now? Next question. Are you bored? Are you stuck? That could mean anything. That could go from relationships to work to your personal life to family. That could go in so many different directions. It's very broad, but it's a question. Are you bored or are you stuck with anything in life? If so, I'm talking to you in this episode. Last question. Do you hate your job or hate what you do for a living? If that's you, raise your hand. I am talking to you in this episode, okay? So I wanted to just identify, those are just some questions. I mean, there are literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things that you could be unhappy about, but we only have like 30 to 35 minutes, so I can't go through the like 700 gazillion things that it could be. So I chose these because these are the ones that I see the most. These are the ones that I'm able to identify the most when I talk to queens, okay? So I'm going to go back through this list and I'm going to start answering some questions and identifying how to turn some of these things around. Like if you answered yes to any of those questions, I'm going to go through those questions. I'm going to go through really quick and I'm going to tell you what's going on in your mind that's creating the unhappiness about that situation and how you can turn it around immediately and stop feeling yucky, sad, frustrated, annoyed by that scenario, okay? So back to the first question. Are you struggling with feeling happy and content in your life because you aren't where you want to be? If you're struggling with that, it means that you're not living in the moment, okay? You're not enjoying the here and the now. You have to bring yourself back to the present. You have to focus your mind on all of the beautiful shit and the wonderful blessings that you have today, because I guarantee you, your life is good. If you pay attention to the things that you have, if you pay attention to the things that you have and the things that you are blessed with and what is around you, focus on that. Just shift your focus and focus on those wonderful things that are a part of your life. If you're having a hard time identifying them, just take a piece of paper and write it down. Just take some time and write down all of the wonderful things that you have going on in your life. I guarantee you that you can find at least 10. And what you can do is start focusing on those 10 things. Don't focus on why you aren't where you want to be. Just focus on the beauty, the blessings that you have today, okay? The next one was, are you worrying? If you're a person who's just a worrywart, like you literally just worry about everything like my mom does. My mom is a worrywart. Anything that she can't control, she's worried about. I worry about my son. I mean, I think all moms worry about their kids, especially when they get to be teenagers and young adults and they're out in the world, you know. So yes, I worry about things like that. But worrying can steal your happiness. The reason why people worry is because they lack trust or they are control freaks, which is also a lack of trust. When you worry, it means that because you have no control or because you don't trust a situation, you're worried about how it's going to turn out. It's also a sign that you lack faith, okay? So you may have to work on your spirituality or your religion or whatever it is that you believe in, or turn into your inner self. Focus on rebuilding trust and rebuilding faith and focusing on the positive, okay? Next question is, are you accustomed to controlling stuff, but you feel like you're out of control? Honey, let me raise my hand because I am a complete control freak when it comes to the finances and the money in my household. I feel like I need to control everything. I feel like I need to have my hand in everything. I feel like I need to know where every penny is going and it has to be spent the way I think it needs to be spent. When unexpected expenses comes up, it throws me completely off my game. I lose my focus. I get worried. I get frustrated. For me, it comes from going through some really tough financial shit in my past. And so now it's like I got my hands on it so tight, so I want to control it. The problem with being like that, with being a control freak, is you lack trust and you lack faith. Now, in that situation, I'm lacking trust in myself. I should trust myself that I learned what I needed to learn when I went through the financial issues the first time. That's what I should trust. I should trust more in myself. I should trust more in the universe. I'm lacking trust. I'm thinking that if I can control it, then I don't have to worry about it being crazy. If I can control it, then I don't have to worry about failing again, right? Because I can control it. I got it this time. Well, that's not true. You can't control everything. You can't control the way things happen. You can't control unexpected expenses. You can't control any of the things that are unexpected that could pop up in your life. So no matter how much you try to control things, you never really have control. The need to feel like you're in control is because because you lack trust and because you lack faith. So again, it's the same answer to the previous one, which is you have to go into yourself and you have to do some soul searching and you have to check your spirituality, your religion, whatever higher power it is that you believe in. You have to learn how to have more faith and more trust. That will create peace of mind. Remember, queens, everything always works out the way it's supposed to work out, one way or another, all right? Next one, are you holding a grudge or anger or bitterness towards someone or about something? That's probably like the number 2 stealer of joy, is that sometimes, queens, we don't let things go. We hold on to things. We hold on to the anger. We hold on to the pain. And again, a lot of times we hold on to that stuff for the same reason that I hold on to being a control freak about the money. When you go through something traumatic or hurtful, a lot of times you hold on to it so tight because it hurts you so bad that you want to guarantee that you never go through that shit again. So what you do is you hold on to it and you're looking for every single sign. You're looking for every possibility that this is about to happen again so that you can react, so that you can defend yourself. Okay. And that's why people hold on to shit that hurt them before, because they're trying to defend themselves from it happening again. It's literally like you're scared of going through what you've already gone through. Again, lack of trust. Lack of faith. You have to trust yourself. Trust yourself that you learned the lesson. Trust God, trust the universe, again, whatever you believe, that you are now prepared to go through that thing again if it shall come. If you're afraid and you're operating in fear, it's just because you don't trust, all right? Okay, moving on. Are you comparing your life to someone else's life? Oh, queens. We talked about comparison a little bit last week. Don't compare yourself to other people. I said it on last week's episode. I'll say it again. Your journey, your life is totally different from everyone else's. Everyone's life is like a fingerprint. There are no two the same. There are no two that are identical. So there's no reason or no way that you should be comparing yourself to someone else. It doesn't matter how similar it may look like your lives are. They're not. You're you, they're them, they're where they are, you're where you are. You have your experiences, they have their experiences. No two scenarios are the same. Don't compare yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy. When you're constantly looking over at someone else, that means that you're not paying attention to your life and what you have going on and your goals and your blessings. Okay. You're looking at someone else's, but you have your own. Don't compare yourself. Okay. Stop doing that comparison thing, queens. No one is you and you are no one else. Okay. Next one is, do you feel like you'll be happy when ... when this, when that, when I go here, when I go there, when I achieve this, when I achieve that? Again, it's just like the first question. If you're not focused on where you are today and you don't learn to see the beauty and the blessings in where you are today, you're never going to be happy. You're always going to be waiting for the next moment. You're always going to be waiting for when this manifests or when this happens. You'll never truly find or experience happiness where you are. And if you do that, you won't be able to ever even manifest what it is that you want, because the only way that you can manifest what you want is to be happy with what you are, because the mindset that you have, what you feel, what you believe, what you're thinking, and what you say is what you manifest. So if all you're ever thinking about is, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when, all you're going to manifest is, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when. And that when never comes. It never comes. It never happens. You have to be happy now so that you can attract more of being happy now. If that doesn't make sense, there's an e-course on the website about how to manifest. It'll go into all of the detail for you, so you can definitely check that out, okay? Okay, next one. Are you a glass half empty person? Now, when you experience something, when you go through something, when a scenario happens in your life, when a situation comes about, do you automatically start thinking about all of the problems or the potential issues or the reasons why it can't be done or the reasons why it's not going to work? Do you automatically think that way? I'm going to tell you, queen, something. I work with a whole bunch of people who think like that. I work with people who say, give us some suggestions, give us some ideas. We're ready to change. We want to grow. And every damn thing that you suggest, every damn thing that you say, they say, oh, well, we can't do that because, well, here's the issue with that. Well, here's where that would be a problem. When you think like that, queen, when you think with a glass half empty attitude, you will block your blessings, because you're only focusing on what can't be done, what problems are going to come out. And again, if that's what you're focusing on, that's what you're going to manifest. You're literally calling it into your life. You're literally literally creating spells over your life to bring in all of the problems, to bring in all of the things that could be a shortcoming, to bring in all of the reasons why something won't work. You have to shift your mindset and start thinking positive and start thinking solution oriented and start thinking best case scenario. Because if that's what you see, if that's the way you think, then that's what you'll experience. And that's what the universe will continue to deliver to you, is more positivity and more ways that it could work and more ways that you can overcome and more ways that you can break through, because that's what the universe is going to respond with. It's going to give you more of the positivity. It's going to give you more of the possibilities. It's going to give you more of the ways to overcome. It's going to give you more of the glass being half full. Okay, so that's something that's all in your mind. That's a perception. And sometimes glass half empty, like negative thinkers or people who focus on the negative, they've learned that. That's a learned behavior. You could have learned it from childhood. Your parents could have been that way, or people you hung with. But I'm telling you, when you look at things like that, you will continue to create more of the lack in your life. If you keep seeing things as half empty, you will keep manifesting half empty. You will keep manifesting a lack of. If you see the glass as half full, if you look at a situation and you see the positive and you see the possibilities, you will continue to manifest more positive and more possibilities. So it's totally up to you. That's something that you're creating and you're manifesting in your life through your mindset and the way that you think. Okay, next one. Are you lonely? This is one I get all the time. I'm lonely. I want a life partner. I want someone to spend the rest of my life with. I hear that all the time. I can relate to this one because I used to feel lonely. And it got to a point where I had to stop focusing on not having a partner and focus on the beauty in my life. What I did to shift my mindset away from feeling lonely and feeling like I didn't have that partner in my life is every time I would be around people or talking to friends or coworkers or family members who had a spouse, I would almost feel like I was experiencing the happiness that that couple was experiencing. Even though I wasn't a part of the couple, I just would feel happy feelings. Like I would focus on all the good things about the relationship that I wanted to experience. If I saw them lovingly gazing at each other, I would just smile and feel like, oh my gosh, that is so sweet. If I saw the man make a nice gesture to the woman, or I saw the woman make a nice gesture to her girlfriend or her wife, I would literally just relish in that emotion and relish in that feeling. And sometimes I would even get teary-eyed and I would cry and I'd be like, oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. And I would be so freaking happy for those people. I literally was like, I was experiencing it myself, right? But I was genuinely happy for other people. And I had to work on that mindset because that wasn't my mindset. I was in the mindset initially of, I'm lonely. I really want to be married. I really want a husband. That's how I was thinking every single day. And because I was thinking that way, I kept manifesting that same thing. If you're constantly thinking about what you don't have, then you'll constantly manifest more of what you don't have. So I shifted my mindset and I started celebrating and feeling the emotions of the other people that were in love. Like if I scrolled on Instagram and I saw a cute little love post, I started following all of like the little millennial married couples and couples pages and stuff, and just would tear up reading the stories and seeing the love. And I just started celebrating with people and being happy for them. And then booyah, manifested a marriage. Okay. So if you're lonely, you can start looking at it from that perspective. Now let's switch gears. Let's say you're lonely because your kids just moved out, or you're empty nesting, or your home is empty, something like that. You're going through some sort of a transition. Loneliness doesn't always happen because you want a relationship. Sometimes it could be empty nesting. Sometimes it could be because the people you live with aren't paying you any attention, right? You could be married and be lonely. You could be in a relationship and be lonely. If you're feeling lonely like that, focus on what you do have. Focus on the relationships that you do have. When you are in the presence of the people you love, when you are in the presence of other people who are with people they love, just try to embrace those emotions and try to embrace those feelings. Try to create some gratitude in your life for the relationships that do make you feel whole and for the relationships that do make you feel like you're having fun and you're in a partnership. It doesn't matter if that relationship's with your mom, your friends, your sister, whoever it is. Just find a relationship in your life that you can relish in the gratitude of that relationship and start shifting your energy so you're not focused on the lonely energy. You're focused on the energy being appreciative and gracious about the relationships that you do have, because everyone has at least one relationship. At least one relationship that you can say, this is a great relationship. Even if the person's far, hell, one person could be in New York, the other one could be in LA. It doesn't matter. If you have that bond with that person, when you see them, when you talk to them, when you text them, when you're talking to them on social media, that you just love the way that relationship feels, focus on the gratitude of that bond. Don't focus on the being lonely, okay? It's all about shifting your mindset, queens, okay? All right, the next one. Are you hanging with unhappy people? Now, this is one of the easier ones because it's kind of easy to see when other people are negative, when they're miserable, when they're always complaining, when they're always bitching. If you're hanging with people like that, their energy could potentially be transferring over to you. Because remember, energy can only be transferred. It can't be destroyed. And miserable people, unhappy people, people who complain and bitch and gossip all the time, people who want to find the negative in everything all the time, those types of people love to pour that negative energy onto someone else because, honey, it does not feel good to be consumed with all of that negativity. So negative people always want to transfer their energy to someone else. They got to dump that shit somewhere. They got to get rid of it somewhere. Don't let it be on you, queen. Don't let it be on you. You have to learn how to detach yourself from people who are negative. You don't have to cut them off. You don't have to not be their friends. You don't have to not speak to your sister or your mom if that's who it is. You don't have to do it that way. You just have to learn how to detach yourself from that person so that you don't have the bond, so that that bond isn't there. It's almost like unplugging yourself from them so that they don't get to transfer that energy back and forth. Detach yourself. Create some boundaries so that that person cannot step over those boundaries and give you that yucky energy, okay? All right, next one is, are you struggling to find your purpose? This is one that I could totally relate to. It took me a long time to totally find my purpose. And sometimes I still question, like, is this where I'm supposed to be? Is this what I'm supposed to do? It's hard for people who don't know exactly what it is that they want to do, or for people who don't know exactly which direction they're supposed to be going in. It's very hard to find your purpose. That is a struggle with finding happiness when you just don't feel like you're contributing or you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, or you are where you're supposed to be. That is very challenging and very frustrating. One of the things that I can say about finding your purpose is whatever it is that sparks your energy, whatever ideas come to mind, get a journal and start writing it down. And as you write it down, then take some time and do some research on it and then try it out. I'm one of those people who say, if you don't try, you'll never know. You'll never know. Try it out. Try that on and see how it fits and see how it feels. If it brings you joy, if you love it, you'll feel it. You'll get a different feeling. You'll get invigorated. You'll get excited about it, okay? So try different things. As those ideas pop up into your mind, ideas and thoughts don't just come just because. They come because they were called, okay? They come because you were called. So make sure you're writing them down so that you don't forget them, okay? All right, next one. Are you stuck in your past? Remember, we talked about this being stuck in the past from a positive perspective, stuck in the past from a negative perspective. Either way, honey, leave the past in the past. When you keep reliving the past, you're bringing the old to the present, and you're going to continue to relive the same cycles of behavior, the same cycles of relationships, the same cycles of problems, the same cycles of mindset. You keep reliving it over and over and over. It's like being on a hamster wheel. You're moving and moving and moving and trying to be productive, and you're getting nowhere. That's what happens when you live in the past. Again, good or bad. It's okay to have good memories. It's okay to recall when you went through something difficult. That's now your testimony. There's nothing wrong with that. But living in that shit and not being able to let it go and move on from it is detrimental to your happiness, okay? Because it'll come in and it'll steal your happiness. There's no way that you can move on to new things when you're still operating under old junk, okay? So you have to let that go and you have to move past that yuckiness. And how do you do it? Self-reflection. Self-reflection. Again, I'm going to put something out on the website under the resource tab so that you queens can learn how to do self-reflection, but that's how you can resolve that particular one, okay? Here's the next one. Are you focused on the future and not enjoying today? I think we've addressed that one twice already in 2 previous questions, so I'll skip that one. Okay, next. Are you unhealthy or unhealthy with your weight? Oh, child, I think this is every woman on planet Earth, honey, has an issue with our body, with our weight. But again, I put healthy in there because health is not necessarily about weight, okay? Because what you eat and the way you treat your body is also what creates health. And sometimes when we're not taking care of our bodies and when we're not putting into our bodies the good nutrients that our bodies need, we don't feel good. Our bodies actually respond immediately to the things that we put in it and to the way we treat it. And it does impact our emotional well-being and it does impact our mental health, okay? So if you are not healthy or you're unhappy with your weight, bottom line, 1, understand that you are exactly where you're supposed to be and the way that you look and the way that you feel is 100% okay. Pat yourself on the back for even acknowledging it and for realizing maybe I'm not taking care of my body correctly. Maybe I do want to lose some weight. Maybe I want to tone up. Maybe I want to gain some weight. Depends on what your situation is. And to that, what I can say to help you resolve that is take action. do something, start a plan. If you don't know where to go to start a plan, Google it. But start a plan. Commit to doing something one day a week. Just start there. One day a week, eat healthy. One day a week, walk or exercise or do something. Start it off as one day and do that for a couple weeks, and then add a day. And then add another day, okay? And just keep doing that cycle until it becomes a 7-day-a-week thing. Take it slow. Don't beat yourself up. Again, don't compare yourself to other people. Go at your pace. But understand that where you are is perfectly fine today, okay? Next one. We only have a couple more, and then we'll move on. Are you a perfectionist? This is me, but I'm a recovering perfectionist, okay? Are any of you queens recovering perfectionists? When I say that I'm a recovering perfectionist, my perfectionism actually manifested out of procrastination. It really, really wasn't that I was trying to be perfect. It was more so a procrastination tactic, and I was just making excuses for why I was procrastinating, and the excuse was that I am a perfectionist, and it was utter bullshit. That's why I said I'm recovering, because now I realize that I don't need to be perfect. I just need to get something done, okay? And the thing about it is, when you just get shit done, even if it's not perfect, at least it's done. Now you can tweak it. Now you can learn from it. But the bottom line is, you don't learn anything by planning. You learn by doing. I'm not saying that planning is not important. Planning is important, but over planning. Remember, anything we do over in abundance becomes a problem. So if you plan too much, if you plan so much and you plan so long that you're actually not doing anything, at the end of the day, you're still not doing anything. And when you're not doing anything and when you're not being productive, subconsciously, you get frustrated with yourself for not doing what you think you should be doing. Okay? Again, it's that self-sabotage loop. You're creating the problem. If you're one of those people who are a perfectionist, just understand that perfectionism is really just an excuse for hesitating and procrastination. Okay? I just want you to be aware of that. Okay, next thing is, are you unhappy with your financial position? If you're unhappy with your financial position, one really good suggestion I want to give is learn how to manage what you have and how to make what you have work. A lot of times that means that you have to make some sacrifices and that you may have to lower your expectations of what it is that you have or what you're going to do, okay? Because you're not being realistic with yourself. So you have to make some sacrifices. A lot of times when people are not happy with where they are financially, it's because they're not being realistic with where they are financially, and you're probably living above your means or trying to do too much or taking on too much at one time, okay? So take a step back, look at your finances, of course, set your goals, but live within your means and scale back a little bit. You're going to have to make some sacrifices to propel yourself forward where you want to be as far as your financial position is concerned, and that's a decision that you have to make. If you're unhappy about it, then you have to do something about it. You have to take action, all right? Next thing. Are you bored or stuck? Now, again, that's a very general thing. You could be bored and stuck with anything. If you feel bored or stuck, that's another opportunity to do some self-reflection. You have to do some self-reflection because you've got to get to the core of why you feel stuck, because you're never really stuck. Stuck is a mindset. So you have to do some self-reflection on the stuck side of it. If it's that you're bored, you have to do some self-reflection on what it is that you want. Because if you're bored, then that means that your life is not adventurous, that you're not achieving what you want to achieve, or you're not doing what you want to do, or you're not experiencing what it is that you want to experience. And if that's the situation that you're in, then you have to get clear on what it is that you want to do, and then you have to take some steps to getting there, okay? All right, last one. Do you hate your job? If you hate your job and that's the cause of the misery, then obviously you need to make a plan to move your career or move your job to a different place. Bottom line, you have to make a plan. This is like third or fourth top question that I get all the time is about the job. And it's because I always talk about how I can't wait to get out of my job and be a full-time entrepreneur. So people, I think, come to me all the time about jobs. I hate my job. I want to get out of this. I want to do something different. And what I'll say to that is, if you really hate your job, the reality is most of us can't just up and quit today. So you have to make a plan. You have to make a plan for how you're going to move yourself in a different direction, whether that's a different career or same career, different company. But you have to come up with a plan. There's so many women who ask me questions about jobs, and then I'll say, okay, so what do you want to do? And they don't know. Or I'll say, okay, so how's your new job search going? And they'll say they haven't started. And it's like, what the hell? Why are you sitting there? If you hate it, do something about it. Figure out what it is you want to do and how to get the credentials for what it is you want to do. And if you're already doing what you want to do, but you just hate where you're doing it, then where do you want to go? That's the first thing. You have to identify what it is that you want. Most of the people who ask me about hating their job and what should they do and how can they switch their career have done absolutely no work to get out of the situation that they're in. So that's the first step. If you're you're one of those people where you know what you want to do and you have been taking action, but nothing has manifested yet, then what you have to work on is how to feel happy and content while you're doing the job that you don't want until you get to the point where you can manifest. If that's where you are, it's called being in the gap. I talked about being in the gap earlier in the season. I don't remember exactly what episode it was, but I was talking about manifesting and finding happiness in the gap. You have to find contentment and happiness and gratitude where you are. Otherwise, you'll never get to where you want to be. If you are doing what you need to do, meaning you're taking action on getting out of the job, but it hasn't happened yet, then it means that you're manifesting more of what you don't want. And you have to learn how to stop manifesting what you don't want and learn how to manifest what you do want. Luckily, again, I created an e-course about that. So if you want more information about that, you can take that e-course. Also, what I'm going to do is give you a couple really quick tips and suggestions, and you may be able to incorporate these as well, okay? These tips and suggestions right now are for overall resolution to feeling happy when you're not where you want to be. And I'm going to go through these really quickly because we're running out of time, okay? So first thing, allow yourself a moment to feel unhappy. We are people, we are human beings, we're women more importantly, and we have emotions, we have feelings. We can't sweep everything under the rug. We can't act like those feelings don't matter. In order to achieve good emotional health and emotional well-being, we have to be able to acknowledge and allow ourselves to have the emotions that we're going to have. The key is not staying in that unhappy place for too long and knowing when and how to move on from it. Okay? The second thing is stop complaining and focusing on what you don't have. Let me give you an example of why this creates a little bit of a problem. There's a young lady that I'm friends with who had a birthday party, and she invited a whole bunch of people. And so we came to the birthday party, and I was having a blast, and she didn't seem to be having a blast, even though her family was there, some of her friends were there, some of her coworkers were even there, and everybody's having a good time, and all of these people showed up, but she just didn't look like she was thrilled. So when we finally got her in a corner later on that evening to ask her, like, what's going on? Did you have fun? It's your party. It's a beautiful party, a beautiful day. You don't seem happy. And she's like, oh my gosh, I invited this person, that person, this person, that person, and they didn't even show up. That's crazy. Now think about this, queens. You have family and friends here who are having a ball, who are celebrating you and celebrating your day and having the time of their lives. And instead of being able to focus on the people who did show up for you, instead of focusing on the beauty of this day, the decorations, the cake, all of the love that was being spewed for her, instead of being able to live in the moment and focus on that, she chose to focus on the people who didn't show up. See, that's what it looks like when you complain and focus on what you don't have. That's exactly what it looks like. You have a beautiful life. Though you may not have everything that you want, you're still fucking here. So you have a beautiful life. Yet you choose to focus on the 2, 3, 4, or 5 things that you don't have. When you have 100 wonderful things every day standing right in your face that you could be grateful for. Again, mindset. It's all in your mindset. That's the importance of shifting your mindset so that you're not a half glass empty thinker. Because when you're a half glass empty thinker, what it does is it shows a lack of appreciation for what you do have. Because how do you think her being upset about the people that didn't show up, how do you think that made the people who did show up feel? It made them feel like they didn't matter. It made them feel like that they weren't important. So again, queens, try to work on the amount of complaining and focusing that you're doing on what you don't have, okay? Here's another tip. No comparisons. We talked about that already. Stop comparing yourself. Remember that picture of Michael Phelps and Ryan Lochte? And there's this picture of Ryan Lochte looking over at Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps is facing forward. He's not even focused on the competition. He's not focused on anything that's going on around him. He stayed in his lane and he won his 1,745th gold medal, right? That's exactly how comparison looks. When you start comparing, you take your eyes off of your journey and off of your lane and you start focusing on someone else's journey in someone else's lane, and you're comparing it to your lane. Next thing you know, you tripped, you fell, you bruised your knee. Now you're all fucked up. Meanwhile, the other person is still moving on. Stop focusing on other people. Stop comparing yourself to other people and other people's journey and get out of their lane. Stay in your own lane, okay? Okay, here's another quick tip. Gratitude journal. Gratitude journal, gratitude journal, gratitude journal. I talk about it all the time. About 2-3 episodes ago, I talked about the importance of journaling and how it is helpful. If you want to learn how to journal, listen to that episode. If you need a journal, go to the All Queens Army website. I have some on the site. Okay, another tip, identify your gift. Remember, finding your purpose. Try to figure out what is your blessing, what is your gift, what do you love to do, what do you naturally just do well. And when you find that, do more of it, okay? Here's another tip. Do more of what you love and be around more positive people. You have to get yourself engaged with people who think positive. If you find yourself focusing on being unhappy and what you don't have, you're hanging around the wrong people. People who are happy focus on the positive. You want to get around people like that so that instead of the yucky negative energy that you're either emitting or that you're getting from other people, you can actually get plugged into people who have more positive energy, and that will actually help you a ton. Another thing you can do is set some goals. Actually write some goals down. Queens, you will be surprised how many women do not have goals, or they say they have goals, but the goals are in their mind. They've never written them down. They've never acknowledged them. Write some goals. Focusing on goals will help you focus on the positive, okay? All right, the last tip I already gave you, which is go take the e-course on the website, okay? Learning how to manifest will teach you how to find happiness where you are and how to find contentment where you are, okay? So, Queens, that was a long episode, all right? I feel like I was just going on and on and on, and I guess I just, motivated the shit out of you? Well, I hope I did, okay? So, Queens, I hope you enjoyed the episode. That's all for today. If you need to reach out to me, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. You can send me an email at breezy@allqueensarmy.com. That is BREIZY@allqueensarmy.com. I love you so much, Queens. I hope you enjoy your day. Make sure you write me a review on whatever platform it is that you're listening to the All Queens Army on. I'd appreciate that. I appreciate you, Queens. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the All Queens Army podcast. If you want to connect with Breezy Time and the All Queens Army, be sure to follow them on IG and Facebook at All Queens Army. Or head over and check out the All Queens Army YouTube channel. Until next time.